There is a secret hidden in plain sight, a truth so ancient, so powerful that every great civilization has honored it. The Egyptians built towering obelisks to channel its energy. The Mayans crafted intricate calendars to track its movements. The Druids, the Persians, the Hindus all revered it as divine, the sun. But why? Was it mere superstition, the result of primitive minds awed by a blazing sphere in the sky? Or did the ancients understand something we have forgotten? Today we take the sun for granted. We wake up under its glow, barely noticing its presence. Yet for thousands of years, enlightened mystics and sages whispered a deeper truth, one that goes beyond its light and heat. They saw the sun not just as a celestial body, but as a bridge between the physical and the divine, a living symbol of illumination, consciousness, and the very essence of life itself. Could it be that the sun is more than just a source of energy? Could it hold a key to spiritual awakening, hidden in the wisdom of the ancients? In this video, we will journey through the forgotten teachings of sun worship. We will uncover why the great civilizations of the past, from the Egyptians to the Vedic sages, devoted themselves to this celestial force. We will decode the esoteric meanings behind solar deities, ancient rituals, and sacred texts. And most importantly, we will explore what this means for us today. Because perhaps the sun is not just something to observe, perhaps it is something to remember. Throughout human history, the sun has been more than just a celestial body. It has been a god, a teacher, a force of divine intelligence. Consider the Egyptians. Their entire civilization revolved around the sun, embodied in the deity Ra, the great solar god who sailed across the heavens in his celestial boat, bringing light to the world. Ra was not just a figure of mythology, he was the very essence of existence, the giver of life, the force that separated order from chaos. The famous Eye of Ra, often depicted in Egyptian art, symbolized not just physical sight but spiritual illumination, an ever-watchful intelligence that observed and maintained the balance of the universe. Meanwhile, in the vast temples of India, the Vedic sages chanted hymns to Surya, the sun deity. The Gayatri mantra, one of the most sacred and ancient incantations, is a direct invocation of the sun's divine light, calling upon it to illuminate the mind and spirit. The sun was seen as the highest guru, the ultimate source of wisdom. To meditate upon it was to align oneself with cosmic intelligence. The Persians, too, held the sun in reverence. The Zoroastrians worshipped Ahura Mazda, whose divine fire symbolized truth, purity, and enlightenment. Temples were built with eternal flames burning, mimicking the sun's ceaseless radiance. The Maya and the Aztecs, master astronomers and keepers of celestial knowledge, built entire cities designed to track the movements of the sun. The Great Pyramid of Chichen Itza, for example, is aligned so precisely with the equinoxes that on specific days of the year, the sun casts a shadow that resembles a serpent slithering down the temple's steps, a divine merging of celestial and earthly realms. But why this universal reverence? Why did civilizations that had no contact with one another all arrive at the same conclusion: the sun is a sacred force, a cosmic intelligence, a source of divine order? The answer lies in a hidden truth. The sun was never just a symbol of light, it was a symbol of consciousness itself. It was the great initiator, the force that awakens, transforms, and illuminates. The ancients saw the sun not just as an object in the sky, but as a mirror of the human soul. Just as the sun rises each morning, dispelling darkness, so too can human beings rise from ignorance into wisdom. Just as the sun provides energy, so too does spiritual enlightenment nourish the soul. This understanding of the sun as a gateway to higher awareness was embedded in mystery schools and esoteric traditions across time. The Hermeticists of ancient Greece spoke of the solar logos, the divine intelligence that governs reality. The alchemists of the Middle Ages sought to transmute the soul using the power of solar light. Even in Christianity, the figure of Christ is often depicted with a radiant halo, an unmistakable solar symbol representing divine enlightenment. All of this points to one profound realization: the sun was never just an object of worship. It was a living representation of the divine principle itself, the source of light, life, and higher knowledge. But what exactly does this mean? And how does the sun hold a key to our own spiritual awakening? To answer this, we must go deeper. To understand why the ancients worshipped the sun, we must move beyond history and symbolism and step into the realm of consciousness itself. The sun was not merely a deity or an object of reverence. It was a living metaphor for the soul, for enlightenment, and for the very essence of existence. Imagine for a moment that you are living in complete darkness, no light, no warmth, no vision. What would this existence be like? Confusion, fear, a sense of being lost. Now imagine the first rays of dawn breaking through. Suddenly you you see, you feel warmth, you understand your surroundings. This is the essence of spiritual awakening. The sun represents this awakening force in all things. Just as its light dispels darkness, wisdom dispels ignorance. Just as the sun gives life to plants, so too does spiritual illumination nourish the soul. The ancients understood this and saw the sun as an outward reflection of an inward reality. The sun as the eye of God. In many traditions, the sun was called the eye of God. Why? Because it represents divine perception, the ability to see beyond illusion, beyond the material world, and into the deeper nature of reality. In ancient Egyptian temples, the sun's rays were depicted as hands reaching down to touch the earth, bestowing life and knowledge. In Hinduism, the sun was called Surya Narayana, meaning the cosmic being that sees all. Even in Christianity, the divine presence is often depicted as a shining radiance from above, a symbol of illumination, wisdom, and divine grace. This is why solar deities were often associated with truth. The sun reveals everything it touches. It does not hide. It does not deceive. It simply is. The light of the sun exposes reality, just as spiritual wisdom exposes the illusions of the mind, the inner sun and the third eye. But the ancients didn't only worship the external sun, they recognized an inner sun as well. Mystics across time have spoken of an internal solar force, often linked to the third eye or the pineal gland, the center of inner vision and higher consciousness. In yogic traditions, the sun is said to reside in the solar plexus chakra, the energetic center associated with willpower, vitality, and personal transformation. This idea is found in alchemy as well. The great work of spiritual alchemy was described as a process of turning lead into gold, a metaphor for transforming the dense material self into a being of radiant wisdom. The sun in this process represents the ultimate state of enlightenment, the philosopher's stone, the inner light that illuminates all things. This is why sun gazing, an ancient practice of staring at the sun at sunrise or sunset, has been a mystical technique for millennia. It was believed that by absorbing the sun's energy directly through the eyes, one could awaken dormant faculties of the mind, strengthen intuition, and even gain deep spiritual insight. The sun as the cycle of life and death. But there is another layer to this mystery, one that explains why solar worship was at the heart of so many ancient death and rebirth myths. The sun follows a perfect cycle. It rises, reaches its peak, and then sets, only to rise again the next day. This cycle mirrors the journey of the soul. Dawn represents birth, pure potential, innocence, a fresh beginning. Noon is the peak of life, the height of power and strength. Sunset symbolizes the end, the descent into the underworld, the passage into the unknown. Midnight, the time when the sun is hidden, is the realm of death, transformation, and waiting for the next rebirth. This is why solar deities like Osiris, Mithras, and Christ are often linked to resurrection. Their stories reflect the sun's eternal cycle. Just as the sun disappears but always returns, so too does the soul pass through cycles of death and rebirth. This understanding was encoded into ancient mystery traditions, where initiates underwent symbolic deaths, descending into darkness before emerging into light, reborn in wisdom. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Eleusinian mysteries of Greece, and the rites of Mithraism all carried this theme. To follow the path of the sun was to transcend death itself. But there is still one crucial question left unanswered. If the sun represents spiritual enlightenment, how do we tap into its power? How can we awaken our inner sun and harness this ancient wisdom for personal transformation? To answer this, we must go deeper still. If the sun is more than just a celestial body, if it is a symbol of higher consciousness, illumination, and the eternal cycle of life, then how do we connect with it? How do we activate this solar wisdom within ourselves? The answer lies in the hidden teachings of the solar path, a path that has been encoded in esoteric traditions across the ages. This path is not just about worshiping the sun as an object in the sky, it is about becoming the sun. The solar path, becoming the sun. In ancient spiritual traditions, the goal of the initiate was not simply to bow before the sun, but to embody its qualities. This is what the Egyptians, the Vedic sages, the Hermeticists, and the alchemists all sought, the transformation of the self into a being of light, a conscious reflection of the sun's divine power. This idea is beautifully captured in the concept of the solar hero, from Horus in Egypt to Apollo in Greece, from Christ in Christianity to Krishna in Hinduism. The solar hero is the one who undergoes trials, overcomes darkness, and ultimately radiates truth. He is not just a figure of mythology, he is an archetype of spiritual mastery. This archetype exists within each of us. When you choose to rise above ignorance, you are embodying the sun. When you bring clarity and truth into the world, you are shining light where there was once darkness. When you transform suffering into wisdom, you are turning night into day. Thus, the true secret of solar worship is not just external devotion, it is inner transformation, the esoteric meaning of solar worship. In esoteric traditions, the sun was always linked to the idea of higher states of being. The ancient Egyptians referred to enlightened beings as shining ones, those who had awakened their inner light. In Buddhism, enlightenment itself is often depicted as a burst of radiant illumination, a direct parallel to the sun's rays. Even in modern physics, we find a striking parallel. The human body literally emits light. Scientists have confirmed that our cells produce tiny amounts of biophotons, light emissions that are believed to be connected to cellular communication and vitality. In other words, we are all, quite literally, beings of light. But just like the sun, our inner light can be dimmed by ignorance, negativity, and spiritual stagnation. The great mystical traditions taught that just as the sun must rise each day, so too must we make the conscious effort to rise above our lower nature. This is why many initiatory traditions speak of purification before enlightenment. To receive the full power of the sun, one must become clear, open, and receptive. Just as a dirty mirror cannot reflect light, a mind clouded with negativity cannot reflect truth. The solar mind, awakening, higher consciousness. The sun does not struggle to shine, it simply radiates. Likewise, when the mind is fully awakened, it does not struggle to find truth, it simply knows. The solar mind is one that has moved beyond doubt, beyond confusion, beyond illusion. It sees with clarity, thinks with purpose, and acts with wisdom. It is the mind that illuminates rather than obscures. This is why so many ancient teachings equated light with knowledge. In Greek philosophy, wisdom was called phos, meaning light. The Hermetic tradition speaks of enlightenment as the sun dawning in the mind. Even in the Bible, Christ declares, "I am the light of the world." All of these teachings point to one simple truth. The path of the sun is the path of illumination. But how do we walk this path? How do we cultivate this solar mind, this inner radiance? The answer lies in practical application. Because the sun does not merely inspire, it nourishes, it activates, it transforms. In the next section, we will explore the powerful, time-tested practices that allow us to harness the sun's energy, awaken our inner light, and step into our highest potential. It is one thing to understand the symbolism of the sun, it is another to embody it. Ancient wisdom was never meant to remain theoretical, it was always meant to be lived. The initiates of mystery schools, the sages of the East, and the alchemists of the West all sought to integrate the sun's power into their own being. To walk the solar path, you must align yourself with its principles. This means activating its energy within you, transforming your perception, and radiating its qualities into the world. Here are 5 practical techniques to do just that. 1. Sun gazing, absorbing the solar code. One of the oldest and most mysterious practices is sun gazing, the act of looking at the sun at sunrise or sunset to absorb its energy. The ancients believed that the sun emits more than just light, it transmits information, a cosmic code that can awaken higher consciousness. In India, yogis would stare at the sun while chanting mantras, believing it to activate their third eye. In Egyptian and Mayan cultures, sun gazing was a sacred ritual reserved for initiates. How to practice? Only gaze at the sun within the first 30 minutes of sunrise or the last 30 minutes before sunset, when the UV index is lowest. Start with just 10 seconds and gradually increase. Stand barefoot on the earth to enhance the energetic connection. Focus on receiving. Feel the sun's light entering your eyes and awakening your inner vision. Over time, this practice is said to increase mental clarity, vitality, and even intuition. 2. The solar breath, charging your energy field. Breathwork is one of the most powerful ways to channel the sun's energy into your body. The solar breath technique is designed to draw in the sun's pranic force and amplify your inner power. How to practice? Find a place where you can sit in the sun. Inhale deeply through your nose, imagining golden light filling your lungs and energizing every cell in your body. Hold for a few seconds, feeling the warmth spreading through you. Exhale slowly, visualizing any negativity dissolving into the light. Repeat for 10 to 15 minutes. This breathwork not only increases vitality, but also activates the solar plexus chakra, which governs willpower and manifestation. The sun mantra, awakening awakening inner light. In Vedic tradition, the Gayatri mantra is one of the most potent solar invocations. It is said to unlock higher wisdom and align the practitioner with divine intelligence. The mantra is Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prachodayat. Roughly translated, it is a request for the sun to illuminate the mind and lead one to higher truth. How to practice. Chant this mantra 108 times at sunrise or during meditation. Visualize golden light filling your mind, activating inner clarity. Set an intention to receive the sun's wisdom in your daily life. Regular chanting of this mantra is said to increase intuition, sharpen intellect, and open higher consciousness. The sun diet. Eating solar energy. Everything we eat is, in some way, a form of stored sunlight. Plants absorb the sun's energy through photosynthesis, and when we eat them, we consume that solar force. How to enhance solar energy through food. Prioritize fresh fruits, vegetables, and grains. These are high in pranic energy. Eat foods grown in full sunlight, e.g. oranges, wheat, sunflowers, etc. Drink solar-charged water. Leave a glass of pure water in the sun for a few hours, allowing it to absorb the sun's energy. The more solar-infused your diet, the more radiant your energy field becomes. 5. Living as the sun. Embodying radiance. Ultimately, to walk the solar path is to become the sun. This means embodying its qualities in your daily life. Shine light on darkness, seek truth, dissolve ignorance, and illuminate the path for others. Radiate warmth. Be a source of warmth, generosity, and kindness, just as the sun nourishes all things without discrimination. Rise every day. No matter what happens, continue to rise, renewing yourself, facing challenges with strength, and shining regardless of external circumstances. To worship the sun is to reflect it. The more you embody its qualities, the more you align with its ancient power. And when you live as the sun, you unlock the greatest secret of all. You were never separate from it to begin with. Since the dawn of time, humanity has turned its gaze toward the sun, not just as a source of life, but as a symbol of something far greater. The ancients saw in its golden rays a reflection of the divine, a cosmic force that illuminates both the world outside and the world within. But the true secret of solar worship is not simply to revere the sun as a celestial body. It is to recognize that its power resides within you. The sun rises each morning, unwavering in its radiance. It gives without hesitation, nourishes without judgment, and shines regardless of darkness. This is not just an astronomical reality, it is a spiritual principle. To follow the solar path is to rise above ignorance and embrace wisdom. It is to burn away illusion and embody truth. It is to become a source of light in a world that often dwells in shadow. Through ancient practices, sun gazing, breathwork, mantras, diet, and inner transformation, you can awaken your own solar power. You can ignite the light within, illuminate your consciousness, and step into the radiant presence of your highest self. And so the question is no longer, why did ancient civilizations worship the sun? The real question is, are you ready to become the sun? Let this wisdom guide you. Let this light awaken within you. And as always, keep seeking, keep shining, and keep walking the path of truth.